Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this channel. My name's Christiana Davidson. I'm a psychotherapist and I work with clients who have struggled to recover and are struggling to recover from having had a narcissistic or borderline parent. And many people, of course, don't even realize that they do. But they come to me with symptoms that they just can't make sense of. They have this ongoing difficult relationship with one or two parents, and it's something that causes them the deepest shame, frustration, and that they come to me desperate for some answers. I haven't made a video in quite some time. I'm so happy to be making another one today. Please bear with me if it's a little bit wobbly. But do you know what? We don't have to be perfect in life, do we? I think that's one of the things that we learn growing up in a dysfunctional family is that we have to control everything, control everyone, control the outcomes of our actions. And part of the healing process is to finally realize the outcomes are not my responsibility. I can just show up and be as authentic as I can be and as boundaried as I can be. And I have to leave the rest, as I would say, leave the rest to God. So let's dive into the topic today now. I'd like to suggest that if you had an emotionally immature parent, as they call it, and that covers the whole spectrum of personality disorders like borderline, narcissistic, psychopathic, sociopathic, they're all emotionally immature. I'm just going to take my glasses off here because there's so much reflection on the screen. And of course, now my hair has gone bonkers. Okay. So when growing up with an emotionally immature parent is what I'll refer to today. Uh, we are not able to find deep, authentic safety with the person, the parent who is emotionally immature. What do I mean by that? Well, especially when this is a mother, the child learns that they have to wait for their mother to present herself to them in order to know what role to get into in order to control the outcome of that exchange. And now my battery's running low. Just 1 second while I make sure this is there we go. Talk about not being perfect. So the child has to wait to ascertain what mood is mummy or daddy, what mood is mummy in here, so that I know what role I need to be in. So let me explain what I have been thinking over these past months about the roles that are allowed to us as children of emotionally immature parents. Now, I have drawn a diagram. I'm not sure you'll be able to see it, but let me do my best here. So it goes on the other side. Yeah, I think you can just about see it, hopefully. Okay, I'm not very good with these coordinates. Let me hold it beneath me here so that you can see. Okay, so in the middle here, we have the emotionally immature parent. And these are the different roles I would like to suggest that you would more than likely have been allowed to be in. Okay, so the first thing is, imagine this in a real life situation. Your emotionally immature parent comes to you. Now you're watching and listening, that deep sort of attunement listening, trying to pick up on cues as to what mood your parent is in. Now, sometimes the parent will show up as a sort of parent, adult, rescuer. That's the mood that they're in. Maybe they're full of confidence, full of supply, and they're showing up uh, quite confidently. Their self-esteem is okay. It's quite buoyed up, and therefore they're not in an emotionally vulnerable state, and they feel strong enough, perhaps, to be a bit more of a parent figure, even offering advice or you know, sort of, yeah, just being a bit more confident. Or the parent might show up as a child, an infant, being dependent, a victim. They might be emotionally dysregulated, and they're anxious, highly anxious, and worried about things, or they can't find something, or they've they don't know what to do about this, or it's all too much. They're overwhelmed. That's the victim. That's the victim emotionally immature parent. They may also show up as a companion. And this is something that I've included here, uh, just from my own experience and thinking, is that, you know, often the emotionally immature parent is not only looking for a spouse or somebody to be dependent on them, they're actually looking for a companion, a best friend. A best friend who can, do social things with them. The best friend who can, they can, I don't know, go out and go shoe shopping and laugh and have talk about the latest fashions. And this parent often shows up as a peer of the child. I've written here a 20 something. Who's into the latest music, and is looking for somebody to be a friend. So those are the ways that the parent shows up. I'm beating around the bush here, but now as the child, you are expected, I think, to be the opposite of each one of these ways that the parent shows up. So, for example, if your emotionally immature parent shows up anxious and stressed out, then you will know, oh, I need to be in a parent, spouse, therapist role. I need to be in a rescuer role. She doesn't need, or he doesn't need, a companion at the moment. They don't need me to also add to their stress. So I have to be the parent, spouse, or the therapist. Okay, so that's the first role, or one of the roles rather, that you learn in childhood. This is vital to emotionally regulate the child, infant, dependent parent. Now, if the parent shows up as the opposite, as the parent, and they're full of confidence, then you will know that you need to show up as a child or infant, dependent upon them, because that boosts their esteem. You might get away with being the best friend role here, actually. This companion role, it kind of is a semi-safe place. That's why I put it in the middle here. It's sort of, it could work, it might not. Now, the threat with the emotional immature parent is always that if you don't comply to their presenting self, then you're going to be shamed for being a perpetrator, for being selfish, um, just like your father or just like your mother. Oh, nothing I do is ever good enough, or, oh, gosh, who do you think you are? Uh, or, just show some respect. Uh, you know, how dare you? Why can't you be like other daughters or sons when you're not complying with one of these? So you can see here, apologies for this ruminatory poster. Um, I hope that gives you some idea. Now, the one that's I've never heard of before is the best friend. And I wonder how many of you, please share in the comments, how many of you have experienced this other role of the emotionally immature parent desperately seeking a best friend, not only a replacement parent, not only needing a child to be dependent on them, but also needing desperately to have a good friend. Please do leave your thoughts in the comments there. I'd be interested to know what you think about that. So you can be expected to be in one of those roles, depending on the parent's mood that day. If you do comply and adopt the correct role, then the parent is happy and soothed and all is okay. And it gives you a sense of power too. Oh my goodness, I can manage my parent by understanding what I need to show up as, what role I need to show up in for them in any given situation. And the thing is, you will be constantly listening out and looking out for fluctuations in your parent's emotional mood. Now, emotionally immature parents, borderline particularly, narcissistic, they are prone to mood swings from one moment to the next. Something could trigger them off, not related to you, but you're expected to jump in and be the soother. You are expected to come in and, as Professor Sam Vaknin says, they outsource their emotional regulation to the outside world. And if you are the support child or you're the chosen child as their safe base, well, then it's your responsibility to show up in one of those roles in order to feel like you have any relationship at all with your parent. Now, the thing is, guys, this doesn't change. It really doesn't change. And, the difficult work of healing now is to really see that when you're with your parent, the frustrating feelings that you have are because you have to get into one of those roles. And if you don't, you're made to feel like a perpetrator, to be authentically you, to show up with your mood, to have your mood, uh, is something that is just, it doesn't compute to the emotionally immature parent. Your mood must reflect their mood. Your presentation must be of use to them, or else you're being selfish. And you can see here why we call it emotionally immature, because this is the 3-year-old, that little toddler, who should be mirrored by the adults in its life, by everyone else in its life. Everyone else should adapt to the toddler and help it to be soothed, but not adults. This is the transition that never happened, the development that never happened. And your parent today is still that 3-year-old. They don't know how to cope. They can't understand it any other way. When you don't respond to them as they need, it's really, really something feels so personal to them. It feels like a huge rejection, like an abandonment. Because in childhood, for them as a 3-year-old, or for any child, a parent not mirroring their moods is an abandonment. It is a not being seen by your parent, not being heard by them. And desperately, this is what the emotionally immature parent is craving: to be seen, to be heard, to be mirrored by her children. And once we understand this, once we really understand this, we can allow for some forgiveness to come in. We can actually allow compassion to come in, and we can show up in the relationship authentically. It's okay sometimes if, the parent that you're struggling with, might need a bit of soothing. Is that so bad? It might be that sometimes the parent is needing a best friend. Is it so bad, to give them a little bit of that? Is it so bad if they show up as the parent? They have had experience in life. And sometimes these parents can be frustratingly spot on. And that's even harder to manage, because that can trigger us. How can this emotionally immature parent be giving me advice? And I'm like, but actually, there's a hint of truth in this. It's okay if there is a hint of truth in this, in what she's saying or he's saying. That doesn't change anything. Sometimes children do give good advice. They can have a wisdom, and it's okay to be open to that ourselves. But it doesn't change the fact that when you're in relationship with your emotionally immature parent, this is all that is on offer. And it does leave a lack of emotional nourishment on the cards for you. But that's okay. It doesn't mean you can't have any relationship. I'd like to apologize also for the color of my screen here. I'm about to get a new laptop here. So the quality of these videos is going to improve dramatically. It's so good to be back. I hope this video was helpful to you. Please like and share and subscribe if you haven't. I really, really want to get my numbers up now. And I mean, not just for the numbers, but I have so much to offer, and I'd love to tell you more about this in a video soon. I've got a new method underway using the body. It is beautiful. I think it's not mine. It's been, I feel it's been come to me over these months that I haven't made any videos in my prayer and in my reflections. I'll do another video this week, going to look at how we learn to lie when we're the child of an emotionally immature parent. Okay, everyone, have a fantastic afternoon, and thank you for putting up with the rudimentary, that's the word I was looking for, video. But remember, perfection is overrated. Take care, everyone. Bye.